The political landscape in Britain has been shaken to its core as Labour leader Keir Starmer faces an unprecedented crisis within his own party. What began as murmurs of discontent has erupted into full-scale rebellion, with Labour MPs openly demanding Starmer's resignation in Parliament. The scenes were nothing short of dramatic, a leader once seen as Labour's saviour now fighting for his political survival while his own colleagues turn against him. This stunning reversal of fortune stems from explosive revelations about Starmer's involvement in a massive cover-up scandal, with leaked documents showing his complicity in delaying justice for vulnerable children during his time as Director of Public Prosecutions. The tension in Parliament reached boiling point when Labour MP Katie Lamb stood up and delivered a blistering condemnation of Starmer's leadership. Her simple yet devastating question: why aren't you opposing the government? Cut through the chamber like a knife, exposing the rot at the heart of Labour's leadership. This was no ordinary political disagreement. It was a fundamental challenge to Starmer's moral authority to lead. The normally orderly atmosphere of Parliament transformed into something far more volatile as more Labour MPs rose to voice their outrage. The dam had broken, and the floodgates of rebellion were open. At the centre of this firestorm is the £22 billion scandal that Starmer allegedly helped cover up. The leaked documents paint a damning picture of political expediency trumping justice, with concerns about community cohesion being used to justify delaying prosecutions in sensitive cases. These revelations have struck at the very heart of Labour's claim to be the party of social justice, leaving many questioning how such moral compromises could have been made. The documents show Starmer was fully briefed on these decisions, making his subsequent claims of ignorance utterly implausible. The public reaction has been swift and unforgiving. Across social media platforms, hashtags like #StarmerResign and #LabourInCrisis have been trending continuously. Protesters have taken to the streets, with survivors of abuse leading calls for accountability. The anger is palpable, not just at the failures themselves, but at the years of deception that followed. For many voters, this goes beyond ordinary political scandal. It represents a fundamental betrayal of trust by a party that claimed to stand up for the vulnerable. Within Labour ranks, the mood has shifted from quiet concern to open revolt. MPs who once loyally supported Starmer now find themselves unable to defend the indefensible. Private meetings have become increasingly tense, with senior figures openly questioning whether Starmer can survive. The leaked documents have created an impossible situation. Every day that Starmer remains in post damages Labour's credibility further, yet removing him risks plunging the party into even greater chaos. Starmer's attempts at damage control have only made matters worse. His carefully crafted image as Mr. Clean, the upright lawyer who would restore integrity to Labour, now lies in tatters. His public statements have grown increasingly desperate, shifting from denial to deflection to vague promises of transparency that convince no one. The more he speaks, the more he seems out of touch with the gravity of the situation. Even his body language tells the story. The once confident leader now appears visibly shaken, his usual composure replaced by nervous deflection. Behind the scenes, the battle for Labour's future is already underway. Angela Rayner, long seen as Starmer's likely successor, has been quietly shoring up support among union leaders and party donors. However, her own political baggage makes her a problematic saviour. Other potential challengers are circling, but none have emerged as clear consensus candidates. This leadership vacuum only adds to the sense of crisis engulfing the party. The scandal has exposed deep fractures within Labour that go far beyond Starmer's leadership. There are fundamental questions about the party's direction, its values, and its relationship with the communities it claims to represent. The grooming gang scandal in particular has highlighted uncomfortable truths about how identity politics and political correctness influence decision-making at the highest levels. These are not issues that can be resolved with a simple change of leader. As the crisis deepens, the Conservative government has been quick to capitalise on Labour's disarray. The Prime Minister has announced a full public inquiry into the abuse scandal, positioning himself as the champion of transparency and accountability. This shrewd political move leaves Labour trapped between demanding the truth, and thus validating the inquiry, or appearing to obstruct it, and looking even more complicit in the cover-up. The media landscape has turned decisively against Starmer. Newspapers that once gave him favourable coverage now run devastating front-page exposes. Editorial columns that praised his steady leadership now question whether he has any moral authority left. Even traditionally Labour-leaning outlets have joined the chorus calling for accountability. The narrative has shifted irreversibly. Starmer is no longer seen as a potential Prime Minister in waiting, but as a liability who may drag his party down with him. At the grassroots level, Labour activists are in open revolt. Many feel betrayed by a leadership that preached social justice while allegedly turning a blind eye to the suffering of vulnerable children. Local party meetings have become heated affairs, with members demanding explanations that never come. The risk for Labour is that this disillusionment could lead to mass resignations and a collapse in campaigning energy just when the party needs it most. The economic implications of the scandal are also coming into focus. The £22 billion figure represents not just financial mismanagement but the human cost of delayed justice and failed interventions. Questions are being asked about how these resources were allocated and who benefited from decisions to prioritize political considerations over child protection. As more documents emerge, the full scale of the financial scandal may yet prove even more damaging than the moral failures.